Thanks for checking out the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to see me play your deck, hang out with me and the amazing BoshNRoll community in Discord, access to my lists and sideboard guides before tournaments, book an individual coaching session, or just generally want to support what's going on here, check out the Patreon and YouTube membership options. For the finest Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, use code BoshNRoll for 10% off your order at coalesceapparel.shop. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. If you want to play what I'm playing, use my affiliate link to support the channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com and play any deck anytime on Magic Online with a cardhoarder.com loan account. Thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back once again to the BoshNRoll channel. Today, I am still recovering from a bit of a cold. My voice is doing a little better than it was yesterday, but still a little shaky. Thanks for bearing with me. On the mend though, I don't think I'm going to miss a release date, which was my biggest concern. Anyway, this deck is 4-color Omnath in Modern. This is from Patreon subscriber Mr. Skittles, who was working on a different control deck in Modern for a while and was consulting with me on how to build the deck. Just from the list, I kind of wondered how the deck was going to cast all its spells. It had like Archmage's Charm and was just trying to do too much. And he on his own came to a similar conclusion and ended up going into an Omnath direction instead, which tap out control featuring Omnath at the top of the curve makes a lot of sense compared to just holding up counter magic for the whole game with 4 Counterspell, 4 Archmage's Charm. I kind of like this direction to take control decks in Modern, where once you have control of the game, turn the corner and win. Quit farting around, because Modern decks will catch up with you. It's a powerful format, and Omnath is the ultimate turn the corner and win card printed for control decks, probably in like the last 5 years. Just really incredible thing. Another card that meets that bill, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, which also featured in this deck. This is just a who's who of powerful Planeswalkers and removal spells over Magic's modern history. Some specifics about the list, both things I like and don't like. What I like is everything I just said. There's not a bad card in this deck. They all draw cards, or they answer something cleanly, or pull you ahead somehow. Some do 2 or 3 of those things. It's just a great pile of cards. Wrenn and 6 is a messed up thing to do on 2 mana. The Fairy's a messed up thing to do on 3. Jace, Omnath, messed up things to do on 4, etc. It doesn't get better in the 5-drop slot either. We get actual Counterspell in the deck alongside Expressive Iteration, which is one of the best draw engines printed maybe ever. It's banned in multiple formats, should be banned in another one, in my opinion. I'm talking about Legacy. I think it's good in Modern. Those are all things I like about this deck, just all cards I'm very excited to play. 4-color Hotband is my deck of choice in Legacy, and this is the same colors. It's doing a lot of the same things. The card pool's a little different. You're playing Counterspell instead of Force of Will. You're playing Wrenn and 6 instead of Uro. Just different incentives, different legal cards, but basically the same plan. Tap out control with big Planeswalkers and value engines along the way. Some concerns of mine in the list is there's basically no green cards to pitch to Endurance. There's just the 4 Wrenn and 6 and the 3 Endurance and the 4 Omnath. I guess saying basically none isn't really fair, but there's 11 total, including the Endurance itself, so there's only 10 other cards you could pitch to any given Endurance, which might be a concern in the matchups where you actually need to turn to an Endurance before you have the 3 mana to cast it. Just stay aware of that. This is also a 61 card deck, which I think it would be pretty easy to trim a Prismatic Ending or one of these flex slots here and just make a 60 card deck, but this is what Skittles sent me. And we've seen this deck work with 80 cards back when it was a Yorion pile. And I've also had discussions with friends that after Yorion got banned, we kind of lost the Yorhinos build, which was a 5-color Omnath, but also Crashing Footballs deck that kind of relied on the 80 card shell to have all the cards in the deck that you wanted to have, but also reduce your density of drawing rhinos, so you do cascade into them more often without drawing them as often. And I've had talks with people about just playing a 65 to 70 card version without Yorion as the commander. Banning Yorion did not change the rules of Magic deck construction. You could still play 65 to 70 cards if that's what the deck wants. So there's some deck building space that Yorion exists in opened up, even if Yorion is not legal anymore. And I don't think it's as big a deal to have 61 cards now as I would have 3 years ago. Still probably wrong, but I'm going to run with it. And I mentioned these flex slots, the Hallowed Moonlight and Dress Down. Mr. Skittles' local meta is pretty infested with Indomitable Creativity, which I think is a pretty medium deck in Modern right now. It's just really soft to Blood Moon, and 2 of the top 3 decks play Blood Moon. And I'm talking about Is It Murktide and Rakdos Scam. So it's kind of a tough metagame position for Indomitable Creativity, but it's really good against this deck. So Skittles actually has 2 Moonlights in the main, another 2 Moonlights in the sideboard, and 2 Orvar the Allform in his paper build. I turn the Orvars into Subtleties because those are just more helpful against a more broad number of matchups. And then I split the Hallowed Moonlights with Dress Downs just to give me some more tools across the board in different matchups. And what Hallowed Moonlight and Dress Down have in common is if they're not good in the matchup, you can spend 2 mana at instant speed to cycle them and just get a new card. So the floor is pretty high on how bad these cards can actually be. But they also line up against things in the format. So that's what I'm doing with that. Those are the changes from Skittles' IRL deck. We got Kahira as the companion. And we're not reinventing any wheels here. 4-color Omnath has been a thing since Omnath was printed, and this is just another build of it. Let's jump in and play these games. I am on the play in round number 1. I'm going to keep my hand. It's got lands and spells in it. I'm going to lead on Spar's Headquarters in case I need to Prismatic Ending on turn 1. A little awkward that I'm kind of Triumph flooded here. Zagoth Triome, Goblin Guide. Glad I can Prismatic Ending. Forgot to actually check the list to figure out what my 5-color spreads are of lands. There's Expressive Iteration on top of the deck. And this Goblin Guide. If I play Zagoth Triume, I'll need red. Or I could just fetch red and set up EI. Or I could assume that Burn's going to make me answer another thing. I'm going to play the Triume and pass. I'll need red eventually. But this lets me Binding Eidolon this turn without taking any damage, because Binding is a 6-drop even if I pay 1 or 2 mana for it. And I'm holding the Omnath, which is my best card against Burn. Please just cast Eidolon. Swift Spear, okay. We're doing this. Suspended Riftbolt, so Teferi is kind of a nut draw here. Teferi can bounce Swift Spear and then make Riftbolt uncastable. Play 4 of those, let's go. Teferi? Okay. I'm going to play Flooded Strand, and I'm just going to pass here. Take my hit from Riftbolt. I'm not planning on taking any damage from this Swift Spear. Skewer, okay. Yeah, they're just going in here on all their spells while Swift Spear is chilling. Might as well fetch now. It's going to happen anyway. I'm going to get Vents. Does this matter? Steam Vents versus Sacred Foundry. They could just get Rockrin Triume and just be totally gassed up. Yeah, I'm actually just going to do that. In slower matchups, you want to leave some Triumphs in your deck to zoom around with Wrenn and 6 in the late game. But you don't need to do that against Burn. This Counterspell was a big draw. A little awkward because I don't want to have a tap land or a shock land come in. They've seen the EI. I'm holding the basic island, which is the thing I'd want to fetch for to save life points. I'm actually just going to island pass here. I can Omnath, then gain 4 next turn, and hold up Counterspell in the meantime. Unless they just kill me in response. Blue, red, green, white. Yeah, if they like skull crack me here in response to Omnath, that's pretty good. I don't think there's 2 mana worth of things that deal 7 damage in this format. And if they skull crack in response to this trigger, I can fetch and get 4 life anyway. Cool. And then I can fetch on their turn to get another 4 life. We're starting to Omnath our way out of this. Lightning Helix, sure. Now this fetch land is good for 4 life. Shocked in Sacred Foundry. And they're casting Searing Blaze. I'm going to fetch in response and get my 4 life right now. Lock in my profits. I go to 11. Back down to 8. A Lightning Bolt Omnath to finish it off. They're down to 1 card in hand with me at 8 life. Okay, that was a great exchange. Here's the EI that they know about. Hello, powerful magic cards. Jace in my hand. Flooded Strand on the bottom. Exile Wrenn and 6. I'm going to fetch basic forest right now so I can leave up blue without taking any damage and get Wrenn and 6 in play. Okay, here's where I wish I had a Triome to cycle, but I don't know that we would have gotten to this point if I didn't play it the other way. And we probably would have. Leaving 1 in the deck and just fetching the Steam Vents several turns ago was probably fine. They're drawing cards with Sunbait Canyon. Have Counterspell. Could still lose this one. I need Jace to start doing stuff. Life total is precarious. Solitude is nice. I'm going to cast Jace, and I can brainstorm right away. Turn some of this stuff into spells. I don't even care if they bolt Jace, because that's damage I'm not taking. Found another Omnath with Sacred Foundry back in the deck, and Misty Rainforest back in the deck. Pick up Flooded Strand, that can get the basic planes. Now I have a second Counterspell. I can Solitude, and I'm ready to Omnath next turn. And they just drew a card in the end step. I love that. I'm actually not going to fetch and go to 6 when Omnath is about to take over this game anyway. Okay, here's Omnath with Counterspell backup. Tons of lands I can play. Just play a land to get the party started, gain 4 life, and then brainstorm with Jace. Big Teferi, hanging out here. Plus Wrenn and 6 on some random land that I'm going to discard. Oh, I can fetch and cast Big Teferi. That's definitely worth doing. I have multiple fetches. And there is a basic plains in the deck, which means I can cast Big Teferi right now. Draw a card, hold up 2 counterspells going into their turn. I think this one is over at this point. This is my favorite kind of Magic, by the way. If you've ever watched any of my stuff, that shouldn't surprise you, but wow, am I having a good time. I'm going to fetch in the end step, gain another 4 life. And how about 4 more life? You having a good time yet? I am. A plus Big Teferi first. They're fetching in response to Big Teferi activation. Then nothing, okay. Plus Wrenn and 6. Brainstorm with Jace. I have all 4 counterspells in my hand. Good luck, opponent. And here's Teferi also. Little Teferi. Searing Blaze targeting Omnath and Jace. Sure. I got enough counterspells here, and I'm going to have to go to discard anyway. She's getting nasty about it. I unstep, I untap 2 lands, and then discard Misty Rainforest. Gonna go to 20 life when I use this fetch land, which is my starting life total on turn 9 against burn. Generally not good for the burn player when that's the case. I have to imagine they're just running the clock at this point, hoping that the next games take longer. I didn't even use Little Teferi last turn, just forgot. Didn't need it. Plus Big Teferi. Endurance. Here's Windswept Heath. 4 life. I'm going to plus with Jace. My hand is already the nuts. Eidolon of the Great Revel. You can have that. I don't care. I'll plus Little Teferi. Gonna Emblem Wrenn. How about a infinite counterspells? And I get my mana back anyway, so I'm going to cast Endurance so I don't have to go to discard. End of turn, untap 2 lands. Opponent is dead on board. I could have ended this game a turn faster if I was really aggressive about saving Omnath for triple land drop turns, or I could have reached for Kahira and probably done some extra damage. But also, whatever. I'll Beseiju this Eidolon. Or no, I have Teferi in play. I'll hide Beseiju. They don't need to know I have that. Bounce your Eidolon and attack you for your life total. Okay. Pretty clean win brought to you by Omnath. I think a non-Omnath control deck would have lost that without all the life gain we earned. Also the Void coming in here. I like Dovin's Veto probably. Solid Moonlight and Dress Down are both pretty mediocre. Endurance is pretty mediocre. Endurance is a body, but I have a ton of removal. I don't really need bodies. And they don't use their graveyard. Subtlety could buy time against an early Wispy or Goblin Guide, just turn 0, set you back. I don't know if that's a game plan I want to embrace, though. Though that does play in well to the Chalice of the Void game plan. I guess like Jace is kind of a clunker. If I want a subtlety, they cost the same amount, but subtlety can interact earlier. Small Teferi isn't great against burn either. It hits Riftbolt like a truck, but for the most part is medium. I'm going to go with the subtleties. 2 lands, a bunch of counter spells, no removal. Hand is not ideal. I'm going to mulligan it. Okay, this is more like it. Tons of interaction. I'm going to keep this and bottom one of the Solitudes. These lands don't actually make Wrenn and 6, but any fetch land gets me just trucking here. I'm going to let this resolve. I can decide what I want to do about it next turn. There's Omnath. I'm going to play the Zagoth Triumph. They're fetching pre-combat. Lightning Bolt. I'm going to Solitude this thing. There's reason to Solitude it in response to the triggers, or I could get them to just commit a bunch of spells to the stack. And I'm going to do it in response to this one, because their life total barely matters. We're not really racing. So them gaining 1 extra life off the Swift Spear is not a big deal. But if I could stop them from gaining 3 life, I will. That trick's a lot better against Lava Dart decks where they're committing real resources. Greening Pool untapped when it doesn't matter. I can subtlety if I need to, but I want to hold on to this Omnath if I can. I just need a fetch land to set this game off. Tough beats. I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit here on the Swift Spear. Oh, Goblin Guide, help me out. Fetch land off Goblin Guide. Wrenn and 6. That's the worst card. Okay. This draw did not come together, and we're probably going to lose for it. It's 4-color deck doing what it does here. Boros Charm. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. I'm at 2. I don't think there's a way out of this one. Very Time Raveler certain, isn't it? Alright. Teferi could bounce Goblin Guide, and then I could subtlety to replay the Goblin Guide, but that's not a... At the Pro Tour, I would have played to that line, but in a Moto League, you don't need to play to everything. Okay. I kept a speculative hand that didn't really get there. Now we're on the play. Get a fresh look at 7. A 1-lander. I don't think I can go with this, even though it's full of great spells. I am interested in this hand. I'm going to keep this and bottom the basic forest. It's time to actually figure out what lands make 5 colors. We've got Rockrin Triome, which is missing black-green. There's no Overgrown Tomb. Zagoth Triome is missing red-white. So Zagoth plus Sacred Foundry is 5. That's not double blue for Counterspell. It's going to have to figure out how this game hands out. It's a Gabo. I'm going to let it attack first when there's more lands in my deck. Where it draws the Zagoth Triumph that I'm trying to fetch. Rockrin Triumph, close call. Fetch for Zagoth. And now with Rockrin in hand, that gives me everything that Sacred Foundry would. I can save damage by fetching basic planes here and play the Chalice. Chalice on 1. Let's get this going. Start to put the shields up. I can answer the Goblin Guide or an Eidolon with Leyline Binding. Teferi can answer whatever's left over the turn after that. I can Dovin's Veto with the mana that I have. Just gotta hope they're not on the mono Boros Charm hand from here. Goblin Guide trigger. First iteration on top of my deck. That'll be good. A couple turns from now. Rockrin Triumph, go. They had no spell in my end step after Shocking and Sacred Foundry. Interesting. Goblin Guide trigger. Now there's an interesting thing. I could save this 2 damage by binding this, or I could just let Teferi bounce it next turn. I'm going to do that. Cool. Now I can do both. I just fetch basic island here. Hold up Leyline Binding. Teferi. Bounce the Goblin Guide that they can't replay. And if I survive this turn, I'm going to be feeling pretty good, because then I can start doing EI stuff, and they clearly have no castable spells in their hand. Discarded Lava Spike to hand size. Love it. I'm going to try to hit land drops here with EI. Solitude in hand. Magic Ending on the bottom. Exile Sacred Foundry. And get tapped. I could Dovin's Veto with the mana I have. I have another EI for next turn. I can Binding and Eidolon if it shows up, or whatever the Vortex thing is they play, not Sulfuric Vortex, but the one that actually gets played, Molten Vortex. Burn doesn't usually play Blood Moon, but I could answer it if I need to. Another Lava Spike in the graveyard. Another EI on the stack for me. No land here. There is a Wrenn and 6 though. And I do have green-red. That's lucky. Solitude in hand, ending on the bottom. So Wrenn for green-red. Back Misty Rainforest. That. Now I'm holding up Dovin's Veto again. I'm gonna have to discard a hand size, but I don't even mind. I think Leyline Binding. Go. I'm getting Lightning Helixed. It would cost me 3 damage to counter this, so I'm just gonna let it resolve. I'd have to fetch Shock to cast Dovin's Veto, which is the same as not countering it, except I don't have Dovin's Veto in my hand anymore. I am just going to get perfect mana. My hand's already perfect. I don't need to go into a crazy Wrenn and 6 cycle here by leaving a Triome in my deck. It's just not important. Got Misty Rainforest and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Misty. Then I'll have to discard Stomping Ground to hand size. I'll get it back next turn, don't worry. With this mana, I can Solitude and Counterspell. I'm going to run out of Solitude just as a clock and some passive life gain in this end step, whether they give me a target or not. There you are. Get nothing. For Hallowed Fountain. And now we start actually taking over the game. I mean, it's been taken over for a while, but now we start running away on life total. This is where I could be grabbing Kahira to speed things up. I might do that next turn. I'll think about it. It's not in a hurry. I'm going to pick up Stomping Ground and just play it tapped. You're up. Feel free to skip to the next round. This game is over. My opponent is not interested in conceding, though. 10 minutes is plenty of time to win this for real. I'll crack, huh? I'll veto that, just because I can. I don't want to discard a hand size anymore. My hand's already full of Insano cards. I'll run out the other Solitude. I'll go into Kahira speed mode here. I'm just not going to lose this game, and might as well win it faster. Kahira in hand, Kahira on the stack. Planeswalkers going nuts. And for 8 lifelink, opponent is dead on board, and I have Counterspell plus Leyline Binding. And we did it. That match took a lot longer than it needed to. It's okay to concede when you're dead, but we made it happen. Pretty smoothly, actually. Omnath game 1 and then Chalice game 3. We lost the game in the middle where we didn't do any of that stuff, but we do have potent tools to pull ahead against Burn. On to the next round.
You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better.
I'm on the play in round 2 with a exciting looking hand full of lands and planeswalkers. This hand notably does not have a fetch land in it, which means that Wrenn and 6 is not getting full value. And I'm still going to run it out there if I can. I guess it'll depend on what the matchup is. If they're a Cascade deck, I'll prioritize Teferi by sequencing my tap land on turn 2. Or I might just draw a fetch land and get to do everything. We'll see. Ooh, Blackleaf Cliffs. Love to get Wrenn and 6 online. Wait. What is happening? Apparently I've just clicked through my turn somehow. What the shit? Fuck. What just happened? Alright. Well, opponent timed walked me. Now we gotta beat whatever this is without our lands in play. What the fuck? Frothy Voidwalker. Okay. Solitude. Okay. Hard mode activated. I'm gonna play Zagoth Triome. And I guess I'm probably just gonna let this Voidwalker hit me. If they do something I'm really worried about, I can Solitude it. But I'd rather Teferi it next turn. Seasoned Pyromancer. Yep. Would have been pretty cool to counterspell this. Alright, I'm going to stop talking about what would have happened if I didn't click through my turn, because it doesn't matter anymore. I discarded Fatal Push and Kroxa. Pretty good value. Push doesn't really matter in this matchup, and shortcutting Kroxa to the graveyard is great for them. There's a fetch land, which doesn't end up in the graveyard because of Voidwalker at current. Shock in Sacred Foundry, play Teferi. I'm going to bounce the Voidwalker. Let's make you replay that. Voidwalker's back. You can't do any scam stuff as long as Teferi's in play, but they have the board presence to remove it easily at this point. They're only attacking Teferi with 1, but I don't have a white card to pitch to Solitude anyway. Or Voidwalking can play my Teferi next turn. Okay, here we go. That was a good draw. We can white, black, exile Dothy Voidwalker, and then red, green. I'm going to ping one of these elementals. I lose Ren for it, but I was losing Ren anyway, and we're just playing cleanup now. Starting to stabilize this board. Okay. Flush out a lightning bolt, or just attacking would have done it. I'll take it. Next turn, I can Endurance with Counterspell up, and they have a 1-mana spell right now. Or no, they still need 2 more cards in the graveyard. Never mind. They just fetch Shocked to get 5 mana available. They're going to hardcast a Fury? What's happening here? Hardcast Grief. Bummer. And Solitude and Endurance are both good on this board. They probably want Solitude, though. Solitude is gone. Welcome to being an Omnath deck. My opponent's eyes have rolled into the back of their skull at this point, and they know I have the fetch land, which gains me life, and then also casts Endurance, or would I rather cast Jace? Can I save Jace? If I block, Jace takes 4. I would have to shock in. I plus Jace. I have to shock in anyway. I think I'd rather have Endurance on this board. Then hardcast the Endurance. Clear the Kroxa. This gives me 2 creatures to tangle with Grief's Menace, and just like that, I'm ahead on board. They still have 3 cards in their hand. Fury can come down, or they can concede. Yeah, that is the tilt top deck. They did a good job sequencing the Grief to the turn where I was likely to cast Omnath, and I time walked myself. Just didn't matter. Good stuff. Subtlety comes in against Rakdos Scam. They're going to try to Blood Moon me. I don't love Hallowed Moonlight. Dress Down is fine, but I think this deck has enough tools. Like Subtlety. Fairy is medium. They're a Lightning Bolt deck, so Jace is kind of suspicious. The Fairy and Jace. This is where it gets kind of dicey, because I kind of want Wear Tear for Blood Moon. But I guess I have Prismatic Ending, Leyline Binding, the Teferis, and a Boseiju. I have a lot of answers for Blood Moon already. In Supreme Verdict, Dress Down, and Wear Tear all have text in this matchup. I think I'm actually going to leave Jace in, and I'm going to bring in 1 Wear Tear just as an additional answer to Blood Moon, because I think my deck lines up extremely well against theirs if I can cast my spells. This is a lot of basic lands. Ready? These lands do not cast Wrenn and 6. Once again. Don't rag me, bro. Grief. Okay, we're getting Grief scammed. That's not a Ragavan. Could just Grief me, let it die, then cast Ragavan, seeing that the coast is clear. They pitched Thoughtseize to the Grief. My EI. It's Undying Evil, so this will come back as a 4/3. And they took Wrenn. Just gonna land go here. The land that I want to fetch is Stomping Ground, but Flooded Strand doesn't fetch that. We're just going to have to make do. And this Dashed Ragavan is really good for them. Exiled Breeding Pool. To figure out what this land is doing. Definitely using it. Zagoth gets me green, but does not help me cast this EI. Spara's Headquarters gets me green, but doesn't cast the EI. Rockran Triumph casts EI, but doesn't get me green. Yeah, I basically have to choose between red or green here, because that fetch line can't get Stomping Ground. I think red's more important. I'm gonna get the Rockran. Yeah, there's not a Xander's Lounge in this list. Okay, just checking. There's more red mana. Play the Hallowed Fountain tapped right now. There's Rag back for more. This will put me to 7. Life total diminishing quickly. Exile my Endurance that they can't cast. I didn't really want that. I was not even close to casting it. Not a single green source anywhere. Solitude's a good one. That makes me EI here. The red. Love to find Leyline Binding. Not what I wanted. I can put an Endurance in my hand for someday, or I could get to work on green mana. I guess I get to do both, right? Endurance in hand, and on the bottom, exile land. And I guess I have to Solitude the Grief. This Grief has me dead in 2 hits, as good as this Ragavan is. Grief's better. Solitude, get in there. They go to 5 here, and they can cast basically anything they hit. They're going to have 3 treasures now. They cast Omnath if they hit it, and like anything else. Magic Ending. Please cast that. Wink, wink. Okay, I'm going to fetch for Spara's Headquarters. Or no, Zagoth makes more sense. That gets me all 5. And it still makes green. Brennan 6, are you helpful? Probably not. I will still drop it. This is way too late to matter. I couldn't cast Endurance this turn. I gotta just go to 1 and hope I can stabilize. Omnath somehow still does it. So with 4 cards in their hand, if there's a lightning bolt among them. Attacking my life points directly. Please exile another land. Exiled Ren at 6. Okay, I'm dead. I can't fetch now because Ren can put me to 1. Omnath doesn't even save me here. Yep, bad news. The Voidwalker, okay. So I have to answer the Ragavan in their hand, the Voidwalker on the board, and the Ren at 6 in play. I didn't think so. Okay. Yeah, that Grief with the dashed Ragavan to help it out got through me. Now I have to win a game on the play. I think I still like my configuration where it is. Yep, let's do it. I can see the applications for Dress Down. I just don't think it's better than any of the cards I'm already playing. Maybe Teferi Time Raveler should be Dress Down. I'll make that switch. I'll bring in 1 Dress Down and go down to 2 Teferis. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to have Chalice in this matchup. Maybe I am. Okay. I am down to... I don't know if that's submitted or not. I was trying to get down to 0 Teferi. Shit. Yeah, the Chalice is... I was too slow. Okay. I think I wanted the Chalices in the deck, though. This hand, once again, doesn't cast Ren at 6. It's becoming a theme. I'm going to keep it. I'm actually going to lead on Stomping Ground, because if I draw a fetch land, I'd like to be able to get Ren at 6 going. This does have all 4 of my colors in 2 shock lands, though. That's nice. Cast Ragavan. Pass a turn. I don't think you ever cast Ragavan here. Oh, that's nasty. I have the Solitude, so it's not that bad. Yuck. I would rather this than Grief, that's for sure. This is just a big dumb creature. Grief's actually disruptive. They pitched a Seasoned Pyromancer to make this happen. Sure. Fetch land for the nuts. Second Ren at 6. Hate my life. If they follow this up with a dashed Ragavan, that's a huge beating. If they just try to play normal Magic from here, I'm in good shape. Please cast Dauthi Voidwalker. Croxa. Yeah, you can have one of these Ren at 6s. I'm not using them. Solitude, give them the business. They can at least EI next turn if nothing else comes together. If I draw a fetch land, I would like to start pulling ahead with Ren, but EI is fine if that doesn't happen. Red, blue. Counterspell in my hand. Wear Terror on the bottom. Exile Rockrun Triumph. Can't cast the Wear Terror anyway. Might as well just take the best cards. If they Blood Moon me here, they got me. Let's say Mire. If they fetch Basic Swamp and Blood Moon, it's Nightmare. Okay, they got Blood Crypt. But their plan is not Blood Moon. Liana of the Veil. Well, I can't really beat that card either. Actually, I have Ren at 6, it's fine. I discard Spara's Headquarters, Ren at 6 picks it back up. Alright, we got a long-term plan here. Red, green, Ren at 6. Ren picks up Spara's HQ. That is my land for the turn. Now Omnath is looming. Jace is looming. I'm going to discard Counterspell to Lily this turn. And this makes them hellbent, but they are representing Croxa in the graveyard that can escape next turn. On fetch land. Oh my god. It's too easy. It's too easy, kids. Green, white, red, blue, Omnath. Draws a card. Misty Rainforest. Trigger. Fetch for basic island. Cast Jace. I'm going to leave white in the pool off Jace in case I find Prismatic or Leyline Binding to answer the Liliana. Ren first to pad my Brainstorm. Brainstorm. Easy fucking money. I'm going to hide Solitude on top and then... Oh no, I don't have a swamp. I got so arrogant. All right. Yeah, I don't have a swamp. That wasn't going to work. I played to my out, but it just wasn't there. It's all good. I have binding for the Croxa. Liliana has to minus this turn. And then Jace versus Liliana is a matchup I'm pretty interested in playing. God damn it. Because I stacked wrong, now this Leyline Binding, they get to hit it where I could have just put 3 lands in my hand. I tried. It's a good effort. I'm going to Brainstorm first and put back 2 of these lands. I don't need all of them. Ren going. I get my basic planes. Ren, pick up the land. And I'm not worried about Liliana right now. I'm worried about Grief right now. Save Prismatic Ending till next turn. And I just want to make sure Jace survives this turn cycle. That's what this game's really about. Here is my Solitude. They can plus Liliana and escape Croxa right now, or they can minus Liliana, clear Solitude. Then Liliana dies to Ren, and I don't even need a Prismatic Ending. And then Jace takes over the game. Yeah, okay. They see the writing on the wall here. Jace can bounce Croxa, even if they minus, and they just couldn't escape. Just good Planeswalker stuff here. Tough beats on that Leyline Binding. Keeping track of how many colors you have is important, or how many land types. And I was 1 short. I was so excited, though. Omnath, once again, though, just flexing on the format.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and every other format you'll see on this channel. They have multiple customizations so you can view your deck how you want. Text view, stacks, grid, custom grouping by type, subtype, color, light mode, dark mode. However you want to see your deck, they can provide it for you. My favorite feature is you can choose your set printing, make the deck look exactly how you want it to. The deck screen features expandable sections that show you what tokens your deck makes, your recent change history to the deck, stats about mana curve and opening hand distribution, mana cost distribution. You can deal out sample hands and even play test the deck. Island Ponder. You know I'm keeping this one. This site has everything. Follow me on Moxfield.com to keep up with decks I'm playing for the channel and what I'm up to in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play for round 3. I'm going to keep my hand. It does not really cast any of the spells in it, except for Dress Down, but I'm not going to mulligan a lands and spells hand. I fetch Zagoth Triome here. That'll give me enough to Leyline Binding next turn. Zagoth. Solitude, okay. I'm going to need some help from another land this coming turn. If I can find red and unlock this EI, we're going to be in business. Oh, you're just Roiling Vortex in the main. Don't like that. I'm going to wipe out this Swift Spear, though. On deck, land. Okay. Awkward that it's Boseiju, which answers Roiling Vortex, but I need this Boseiju to be a land right now. I cast a Fairy, which can bounce the Vortex for a turn. Be deeper into the deck. I play Prismatic Ending. I'll find a way out of this. On land. Alright, we got a land. Plus Teferi. Spacebar is HQ. I'm going to play the other Teferi. I'm just going to keep tempoing here. Keep drawing cards. Keep making them spend 2 mana to deal 1 damage to me. There's the Omnath. They missed a land drop last turn. It cost them 1 to make the can't gain. If I draw a fetch land right now, we're in business. Or any land, but especially a fetch land. On land. Shit. And none of these make red. And Omnath could still draw a card and try to make something happen. Oh, wait, I don't have red. Omnath is a red card. I just said I don't have red. What am I doing here? I could dress down to try to draw a land. But dress down taps me out of Counterspell. I guess I'm just passing the turn here. All right, fine. I can dress down on their turn. Yeah, this build of 4-color is trying to get away with a Boseiju for like tech land, and then I'm just going to counterspell this, and then one of each non-red basic, and it has come to bite us a couple times. Okay, there's the fetch land. Plus, and I can take a turn off, so I don't have to fetch shock. Oh, I can hard cast Solitude. Pretty good also. Just a creature. Bummer. Cast a creature. Okay, this is actually tough now because they're holding up the mana for Roiling Vortex. I think I get Rocker and Triome here. Try to wiggle my way out of this. Okay, I can play Omnath. If they don't shut it down in response, I can play a fetch. If they shut down in response, I can crack the fetch and gain 4 life all the same. All right, they're just firing it off right away. Call. Draw a card. I gain life this turn. But they have to leave up mana for the rest of the game, basically. Which they could probably just kill me through that. A huge deal. Lightning Bolt. 2. Yeah, okay. Yep, they're going to be able to do this. Shit. All right. And I can't Solitude my Omnath because I would take 5 if I played that. Roiling Vortex in the main deck won them that game. Hold on. Chalice of the Void coming in. We've seen this before. Hallowed Moonlight and Dress Down. Dovin's Veto. I think I liked the subtleties last round. Endurance is just a booty. Jace was kind of clunky. Teferi's not great. All right, here we are. Oh, wait. Did I have Teferi big enough to bounce? Oh, fuck. I think I messed up last game. I think I was just tunnel vision on plussing Teferi, but did I have a spot I could have bounced the Vortex in? I think I did. I'm going to keep this. It does need some help. Once again, there's a basic land in my hand, which you don't really want in your openers. But Rocker and Triome plus Forest cast Leyline Binding on 2. Spear. Yeah, Teferi definitely could have minused last game. I don't know if they would have been able to kill me in response in their upkeep to the fetch. But I definitely just bricked on that. Okay, this is great. Now I can Leyline Binding into Teferi. I just fetch Zagoth here. Or set. Roiling Vortex. I could also just Dovin's Veto this and play to the Omnath. It would cost me 3 life to veto this. We've seen this game before, though, where this card's in play. But I can Teferi bounce veto. Okay. I am going to try to tempo this out with Teferi again. It didn't work out great last time. I'm willing to believe I'm just hunting value here, but we're doing it anyway. Second verse, same as the first. Bounce Vortex. Vortex is back. Okay. And so is Swift Spear. I can't Solitude the Swift Spear because I'll take 5. They attack Teferi. That's nice. I was going to kill that anyway. And the Roiling Vortex back. Now I can exile the Swift Spear with Solitude in response to Vortex redeploying. I'm going to pitch this Dovin's Veto. I have Prismatic Ending for the Vortex now. Ending Helix targeting me. Okay. It's a good draw. I'm going to land go. I can Prismatic Ending at instant speed. No rush here. And they take 1. Cracking a 5th mana here. Lightning Bolt. 2 cards left. Visit Firecraft. Counter it. In the end step, Prismatic Ending. White green. And I'm going to fetch my other Triome. Just hope I draw any land right now. Any land? Yeah. Red, green, white, blue. Omnath. Breeding Pool tapped. Gain 4 life. Now I'm at 7 versus their 1 card in hand plus draw step. With Firecraft in their deck, they can deal 7. Well, can't counter it. I have a second Firecraft. All right, I'm at 1. On land drops. I'm going to yeet Teferi to try to draw a land. Oh, I could bounce Omnath. I think holding up Counterspell is better. To target nothing. Just looking for a land. It's not a land. It is a source of life gain, though. Oh, that's scary. Oh, they just play some creature. Uh-oh. Well, any land gets me out of range. Ovin's Veto. White, blue. And? Okay, cool. All right, we're back. And I'm holding up Counterspell. I'm at 5 life now. I don't think any individual card kills me here. It's going to counter Riftbolt. Now we're just pulling ahead. Big Tef. Big Teferi. Draw a card. Not a land. I'm still holding up Counterspell. Okay, we did it. Narrowly. Thank you, Omnath. Okay, my opponent is dedicating actual deck space to Molten Vortex. I want to give that a little more respect. Fairy is fine, but also completely medium. Wear Tear also hits. Eidolon of the Great Revel. Not a complete blank. Exquisite Firecraft is kind of scary, because I'm not leaving my endurances in. It's just not worth it. Let's try it like this. Ooh, this 2-lander, this is actually a really solid 2-lander. I'm in. What do you got for me? Spear. I could get basic planes. Answer this. I'm actually going to do that. This represents a lot of damage for a short period of time, and I can answer it cleanly, and I have more of the same in my hand. This sets back Counterspell a little while, but I think it'll be back a little while anyway. They suspended Riftbolt. Passed. I could veto the Riftbolt. I'm going to fetch my basic, and I'm going to do it now so Skewer the Critics isn't on. I'm going to counter this Riftbolt. Boros Charm. Alright, they ended up turning on Skewer anyway. Didn't have Skewer. It's good. Call us on 1, jam it in. Didn't bolt in response. Now I need a green source to get Omnath going. Played and immediately cracked Fiery Islet. And pass the turn. Green source. Alright, this game's going to get weird. I'm holding up Counterspell now. And Subtlety. We are both not playing Magic, but I'm not playing Magic in a way that can suddenly break open. I'm not sure what their version of not playing Magic looks like right now. Spear is countered. You got it. It's Chalice checking me on Magic Online. So, I just need a green source of mana, and we're cooking. Fetching basics, catching up to me now, but I don't know that we'd be stable at 13 life if I didn't do that. Always a little push and pull. There we go. I think, do I want to slam Omnath or just pass? I could run in 6 here. I think I want to just pass. I'm holding up Subtlety if I want to do that. My mana's not going to go unspent. Fetch in the end step. I'm going to get the Zagoth Triome. And? Yeah, okay. Red, green, blue, white. Let's stop goofing around now. What do you think about Omnath and Big Teferi this turn? Fetch basic forest. It's Big Teferi. Draw a card, untap with Counterspell. Plus Teferi. End of turn, untap 2 blue sources, and we should be cooking from here. This is maybe every land in the burn deck. GG's. Alright, we remain undefeated. Chalice of the Void and Omnath once again doing the job that they do. Let's keep rolling.
We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league.
We're on the draw against a Jeggy deck. Jeggy can be Death Shadow, sometimes Tron. I played against a Jeggy Breach deck the other day, which is interesting because it means they don't have Thassa's Oracle. Not a whole lot of information to be gleaned from Jeggy being revealed. It's not a Murktide deck, we know that. It's not a mirror match because of all the elementals. I got a mulligan this hand, though. It just doesn't function off Stomping Ground. I'm in for this one. I'm going to keep and bottom the plains, actually. The fetch lands can get both Leyline Binding and EI off the ground. And then we're playing Magic from there. Volscar Mage, okay. It's the Is It Blitz deck. If I fetch Zagoth Triome, that gives me all 5 for binding, and it gives me blue-red for EI. ERC, Bobble. Spar's Headquarters also gives me Leyline Binding, but I have to take 2 damage either way. Because I'd have to shock in Sacred Foundry to pay 2 if I get HQ, and I'd have to shock in Sacred Foundry to get white if I get Zagoth. Yeah, that was an exciting turn that they had while I was figuring out my mana situation. They cast 2 spells and milled a Lava Dart into the graveyard. Fetching for Zagoth. Ooh, basic planes. This casts Zagoth, or this casts Leyline Binding, same as Sacred Foundry does, but it doesn't let me EI next turn. I'm going to invest the 2 life in success here. I could have just paid 2 for Leyline Binding and not taken 2 damage. That's kind of scary. Bolt in the end step when they have a prowess creature. That means they're rolled up on spells. 3 mana, 3 cards in hand, and Lava Dart in the graveyard. They could cast so many spells this turn. Luckily, I have Binding for Soulscar Mage, and DRC is just going to be 3 no matter what. Ooh, they actually made blue off the Manamorphose. That's wild. They have the Iconoclast. Yeah, yep, okay. That's a card I'm familiar with, and I think is good. Obviously. Not that EI needs my permission to be good at this point. Well established in every competitive Magic format. Lightning Bolt in exile. I'm going to let them surveil before I deploy my Binding. I'm going to be at 5 at the end of this turn. Go to Soulscar Mage. I need to draw an answer to DRC or EI into exactly Prismatic Ending or Leyline Binding. And then bridge into Omnath. Ooh, that's actually really interesting. I might just pitch Omnath to Endurance if I don't find a better answer here. Well, I found both. All of the above. I found my green source and my answer to DRC. Okay. Okay. Ending in hand. Oh wait, no. I need to exile the ending. Forest in hand. Binding on the bottom. Exile ending. Play my planes into the DRC. And I'm at 5. Like if they just breach, land, bolt. But if they breach, I can pitch cast Endurance still. All right, I got options. Yes. Cast Endurance, hope they're dead. Darting me on the way out. Fair enough, I'm at 4. Mess up your graveyard. Breach resolves. Bolt anyway. Just bolt from hand. Soulscar Mage and pass the turn. I love watching Underworld Breach hit the graveyard. Fairy, let's go. I'm going to Fairy before I make my land drop in case I find a painful land I'd rather deploy. Soulscar. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Soulscar Mage and 1 mystery card is their hand right now. For life is not much, but I have 2 draws to hit a land and start gaining. Lava Darting to Fairy. Okay. Yes. White, green, red, blue. If they could kill Omnath, they could also kill me, so that doesn't make any sense. Fetch land. I'm doing the fetch land so I can fetch on their turn also. And gain 8 life. I'm going to get Spar's HQ and gain 4. Let's go. Comfortable 11 life versus 2 cards in hand. They find a Lightning Bolt. That plus Lava Dart can finish off Omnath. I've at least gained functionally 12 life off of that. Iconoclast. Alright, now we're in the other phase of the game. Now they're going wide. If I block with Omnath, it's a 3-3 getting attacked by their 3-4 because Lava Dart actually shrinks it. Just going to take my 2. Done this before. I know about this one. Another Counterspell. I'm going to play Rockrin Triome, gain 4 life, and then put Kahira in my hand, leaving up blue. No attacks yet. I'm a little worried about Iconoclast. I'm blocking Iconoclast here. I can counter a spell that would shrink Omnath. Mutagenic Growth. I can counter that. Right. I'm just going to hope you don't have a follow-up here. I'd rather keep Omnath if I can. Alright, cool. We did it. Once again, Omnath showing up when I'm clinging to life against a Blitz deck. I'm going to sideboard much like Burn here. Hallowed Moonlight and Dress Down are out. Fairy's a little slow. The difference here is that Endurance is actually good. Endurance won me that game. That's the first major display of Endurance insanity. Love it. Wear Tear. can pick off a Breach mid-combo. Is that better than Dovin's Veto? And it's a 1-mana answer versus a 2. Veto does other stuff, though. This is not a Jace matchup. It's not really a Teferi matchup either. I could bring in Supreme Verdict for the go wide. I think that's worth doing. Just at least one out to a board full of artifact soldier tokens. I got Verdicts in, Teferi's out. There's one little Teferi left in my deck, which is a card that is only fine. I could just turn it into Dovin's Veto. Yeah, this makes sense. I'm going in. This hand is land heavy, but it does the things that I need it to do. I'm going to have some faith in my deck to draw cards that keep the action going. Now the choice of take 3 and have a shot at Counterspell next turn, or just ending and let it ride on the basic. I think I'm going to let it ride on the basic. Maybe I'm a coward. I can live with that. Removing DRC. Yeah, this bauble just did half of what it would have done with DRC in play. No play past the turn. No land, no spell. That's good news. I'm a little bummed out now that I didn't shock in for Counterspell, now that I know they're spinning real hard over there. But I can have it next turn. Okay. DRC and pass. I'm going to fetch Zagoth Triome here. Team Vents being in my hand is both restrictive and freeing, because that's what I would fetch to cast Counterspell if I cast Counterspell this turn. Lightning Bolt in the end step. I milled an Iconoclast. I think I'm just going to Solitude here, and I'm going to pitch to Fairy to do it. If I could just have the board clear, untapping into me with a Counterspell with a long-term plan of hardcasting Solitude, I think that's good. Now Hallowed Fountain becomes my fetch target. Yeah, spell the shit out of this. Yeah, I'm not going to mess around with my colors here. I'll spend the life to get myself set up. Other Solitude, good stuff. Team Vents tapped. I'm going to put Kihira in hand. It's a white card I can pitch, and it turns the corner quickly if I don't have to pitch it. 50. Connect. And just sending it. I'm going to shock in Breeding Pool and bet on Solitude. Being at 9 against the burn deck with 5 cards in their hand, not ideal. Oh, okay. If they cast a second creature pre-combat, I'm just in business here, because I get to kill one and block the other. Morphos. Third Morphos. Storm is 3. So excited. Into EI, okay. Yeah, that was a pretty exciting turn. He's out Lava Dart. I'm not going to block. See if they can get another spell. Nope, couldn't get another spell out of them. Just a Solitude. Like, if I don't block and then they mutagenic growth, I get some extra value. Which was Bauble. So they were holding something back. That could have been another prowess trigger. But I was just going to have a conversation about, should I play the Spars HQ or keep it back as a Triome I can cycle? And now I don't have to make that decision. I'm going to play Kihira and gain 4. 13. I think Kihira means I can't pitch Solitude, but I think this is worth it. Having a Vigilance lifelink creature against the haste red creature deck. And they're just passing with Soulscar Mage. I hope I get a blowout with a hardcast Solitude here. Lava Dart targeting Solitude. Oh, I should have responded to the trigger. The prowess trigger. Now they're going to gain an extra life they didn't need. But this doesn't shrink Solitude permanently. We got the GGs in the chat. 4-0, defeating another Blitzy deck with my life gain Omnath Solitude. Let's go play a trophy round.
For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out.
I'm on the draw in the final round against an opponent with no companion who has kept 7 cards, and I have a rare hand that can turn to Wrenn and 6. I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek based on how my hands have been the last few rounds. This deck's actually really good at getting to 4 colors, but you need 2 fetch lands to do it, or at least 1. I wonder if a close inspection of this deck would reveal it's not playing enough fetch to fetchable ratio, because I've never struggled this hard to cast turn 2 Wrenn and 6, even in decks with fewer Triomes and Shocks than this one. Do a genuine analysis. Yeah, this looks like Merfolk. Doing an honest analysis about is the deck constructed well or did we just run bad? Is part of deck building and deck evaluation. Maybe we don't get to play as many 1-mana sources as we are. Which of these do I care the least about if it gets Tide Shapered? Tide Shaper I can unlock pretty easily. They're all islands, so I can't dodge Island Walk. Zagoth Triome is the only swamp in the deck, so I kind of want to protect that one. Rockrin Triome is replaceable while also advancing my board here. I like that. Solitude's a good one. Merfolk is kind of a tough matchup, though. And it's one that I talked about in my coaching session with Mr. Skittles. I'm just going to try to 1-for-1 my way through this. Start with a prismatic ending. Solitude and Teferi are both pretty exciting, though. It'll depend on how hard they can mess with my mana. Spreading Seas and Tide Shaper are both cards that Merfolk can play. And I am a 4-color deck trying to do stuff. Mutavault is really good pressure against Teferi. Valen, okay. This doesn't have any defensive abilities unless you have a bunch of other Merfolk. I get to do a pretty cool tempo thing here, which is bounce Zvalen with Teferi. And then if they pass their next turn trying to kill Teferi with Mutavault, I can Solitude the Mutavault. I want to get a green source here. And your life total matters, but not as much as it does against burn and stuff. I already have 2 red sources. I think I want Breeding Pool. Fairy, bounce Zvalen. Omnath, yeah, that's a good one against Merfolk. I've been saying Omnath is a good one a lot in this league. Turns out that card's really good. Reading Omnath is just like the Vince McMahon meme, where it's like smile, big smile, O-face, and then Galaxy Brain, laser eyes. Okay, they didn't try to challenge the Teferi, which means I get a nice, clean, prismatic ending on Zvalen. Or I could jam Omnath now. I kind of want to Omnath and Solitude next turn, though. That too greedy. I'm just going to end Zvalen. I can do that whenever, though. I'm going to play Steam Vents tapped and pass the turn. Yeah, with Teferi in play, they can't flash in Hexcatcher, and I don't care. Zvalen is indestructible with the spell that I have. On Merfolk, you got it. Not going to let them draw an extra card. Well, this is kind of interesting. I could let them attack with Zvalen and draw another card, but then the Mutavault doesn't get to clear Teferi. I don't think I care that much about Teferi. I don't want them to pull ahead and draw cards against me. And Zvalen being in play next turn is a big cramp in my style. Okay, so they have Hexcatcher. That's what they're doing here. They're trying to Hexcatch, but Teferi's in play. Okay, Ottawar. Just bouncing there's Valen. That's a deal. Alright, cool. Alright, that was a good turn. I mean, it wasn't really a good turn. That was a pretty tough beat on them. But they did figure out a way to go through this. I'm still going to play like they have Hexcatcher. Just think that is what's going on. And now that I'm up to 5 mana, I'm not going to pitch Solitude to protect Teferi. Real Solitudes are more important than that now. Omnath, get in there. And fetch land, gain 4, fetch land. I'm going to fetch a basic here to cast Wrenn and 6. This gives me exactly enough mana to Wrenn and 6, cycle a cycle land, and then rebuy that cycle land. Wrenn and 6. This engine fully operational here. Drew a 3rd Solitude. It's cheating. Piling in a 1-drop. Or this could just be a bluff vial. They do have a Tide Shaper. They did not bother kicking. I guess my mana is set up at this point. Doesn't really matter. I have many islands. 2 cards in hand. It's Zvalen and 1 mystery card. Mystery card is a lord. We get to blow them the fuck out in combat. Yeah. It's not in combat. I have to do it now because Merfolk have Ward 1 with Zvalen in play. So I do have to do this now. Take out the Master. As Zvalen other Merfolk have Ward 1. Which would have been a blowout if I let Zvalen resolve. Now they can chump attack to take some loyalty off Ren, but they're in bad shape. Ooh, little Teferi. I'm going to plus Ren on one of these fetch lands. Rub Windswept Heath. Gains life. Omnath. Solitude. Gonna get this Valen out of here. Gonna play Little Teferi. This Tide Shaper out of here. And now I feel okay attacking. One card in hand is Tide Shaper, plus whatever they're about to draw. Waterlog Grove, that's another mystery draw. They have plenty of mana to do a bunch of stuff here, even if they spend their turn cracking that land. Okay, they drew a 2-drop. Merfolk Trickster. They can clear one of my Planeswalkers this turn. I guess it would have to be Teferi. They can't clear one of my Planeswalkers. They could clear Teferi. Here's Tide Shaper with Kicker this time. They can mess with one of my lands. I think I'm pretty well set up with all my colors anyway. You got it. Vault will kill Teferi, I'm sure. As my life total sails north of 20 here, they're spending attacks on my Planeswalker, which we probably do need to do. It's just damned if you do, damned if you don't. There is a basic island still in my deck, so I will play Misty Rainforest and fetch. This island, bunch of mana. I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. All right, I'm going to cycle Spars HQ. Thing, Rockrin Triome, this green mana, and this blue. I have lots of blue. Leyline Binding, that's pretty good. I pop Kahira in my hand, then play Kahira, and I have enough mana left to Leyline Bind. If they try to double block Solitude, they get obliterated here. In we go. It's taking the damage. Reasonable. Yeah, trading off with my creatures in this spot is not a winning strategy for them. That was a really good no block. And I'll just sit on this Leyline Binding and take out the Lord if they draw it. Dismember. Cool. That works. Still don't have any attacks this turn, but that does kill Omnath. And I'll just go to my turn. I'm gonna cycle Spars HQ. Magic Ending. Nice. Ren pick up Spars HQ. I'm gonna play Zagoth, which gives me the extra type of land. Gonna ending the Tide Shaper, which unlocks my Rockrin Triome. Now they don't have any blocks again. I'm leaving Kahira back. I don't want to give any easy trades here. I can Leyline Bind or Spars HQ. Oh, I tapped wrong. Sure, there's a way I could have tapped that also represents endurance here. I think I'm over the hump and it doesn't matter, but that was definitely wrong. This forest could be untapped right now, whatever I did last turn. Fading Mutavault. They're making their stand here. Attacking Ren. Okay. I am not going to spend any mana or spells protecting some of Ren's loyalty here. It can go down to 3, and then I just attack for lethal. Heal. They must have drawn another Trickster, would be my guess, because that can tap the Solitude. In which case, I really wish I had left up Endurance mana. Valen. Okay. So we have won the game. A cycle Spars HQ in the end step. Then we're going to Leyline Bind and attack. Leyline Binding. Cool. And Omnath makes everything so easy. Merfolk was the nightmare matchup for Ren, White, and Blue, the deck I played at Magic 30 in Vegas, which is also a 4-color control deck. It just didn't have 4 Omnaths in it. It was just blue-white control, splashing Ren and 6. I did play it on the channel if you want to go check that out. But, yeah, Omnath just out-muscling creature decks is something. I don't want Hallowed Moonlight. I might want Dress Down. Subtlety and Supreme Verdict are both excellent. Endurance is kind of mid. It's just a creature. Bring in the Subtleties and Supreme Verdicts. Teferi is like okay on a competitive board, and it's really bad if you're even a little bit behind. Deciding if I want Dress Down over that. Because Dress Down can really mess up combat if I just shrink everything and they all become blockable suddenly. I think on the draw I'd rather have Dress Down 2 than Teferi 4. I'm going in like this. My hand can turn 2 binding for 1. I have Beseiju for Aether Vial and Subtlety if I need it. Yeah, this is a keep. Subtlety is really exciting. When I was working on the deck with Skittles, we talked about Merfolk specifically as a matchup where Subtlety is way better than Orvar. Honestly, outside of creativity, Subtlety is better than Orvar in every single matchup. Aether Vial, okay. I didn't bring in my Wear Tears. I think between Prismatic Ending and just the amount of creature removal I play, I am okay with Aether Vial being around. And if they miss a land drop and show me that they're all in on Aether Vial, I can just Leyline bind that. My sequencing here is fetch for Sacred Foundry now, and then play Zagoth next turn. That way Tide Shaper can't take me off Colors of Mana in the meantime. Second Vial, okay. They're not all in on Aether Vial. At least not on the first copy. It's Sacred Foundry here. Not taking 2. Oh, that's interesting. Ren can control the vials with Beseiju, or I could use Beseiju to just deploy Ren right now. That's interesting. I am going to bet on creature removal and just deploy Ren at 6. If I had led on Zagoth and didn't have to play around Tide Shaper, I would have just had Ren and Beseiju. But because I played around their island effects, I'm a little behind here. If they violin a 1-drop and then also play a Lord, they can kill Ren this turn. Or they don't actually need a Lord. They just need Tide Shaper plus activate Mutavault. That kills Ren. Okay, cool. He dodged. Cavern, yep. I have Subtlety. Out of respect for that. Okay, they're getting chippy with Mutavault. If they violin a Lord, they can put Ren down to 1. I don't think there's any 1-drops that can further pump the Mutavault. They settled for 2 damage, didn't want to expose a Lord yet, if they even have one. So if you're not using your mana, might as well attack. Good call. Another binding, alright. I'm going to invest in Zagoth here. That makes binding cost 1, and I'm going to remember to activate my Ren at 6. Even if it doesn't recoup a land here, at least put the loyalty on it, make them attack with more. Dropped in a Hex Catcher, okay. I played around that by playing the Zagoth. I can pay the 1, and now that this costs 1, I have 2. I went up to 3. I should expect Svalin here. They have 3 cards in their hand, though, and I'm untapping into Omnath, if I even want it. Subtlety can pitch EI if something goes on the stack here, but with all these Aether Vials, I doubt anything's going on the stack. Mutavault's firing up. One really interesting thing here is, normally, if you cast a removal spell, it's too late to violin Svalin and give your creature ward 1, but because Leyline Binding doesn't target on the stack, but targets when it arrives, they can see the binding on the stack, violin Svalin, and then make me pay 1 to actually remove something. I have the 1, I can pay it, and as long as Hexcatcher leaves play, I don't care how that happens, so I'm insulated against the play, but it is interesting that binding gives them that window that most removal spells don't. Both creatures are attacking Ren. Leyline Binding. Take out the Hexcatcher. Now it's too late to Svalin me. They could just violin a second Lord and still kill Ren, but at least this thing's gone. But Ren lives to see another turn. Either didn't have or were not willing to deploy a second Lord there. Either way, I'm into it. I think I want an EI here. I'm going to go red-blue. Expressive Iteration. Fairy in hand. Temple Garden on the bottom. So Windswept Heath. Windswept Heath has my land for turn. Fetch for the Hallowed in my hand. I get Temple Garden. I think my life total is flush enough I can do that. It has to be a white source for a Leyline Binding. I really wanted Temple Garden there. I have 4 lands in play and somehow only one of them makes blue. Just how this all shook out. And I'm going to go to discard, but if they vial anything in the end step, I have a chance to bind it. Like so. Leyline Binding that before they untap. Vialing in something else. If this is Hexcatcher, they could sack Hexcatcher and Mutavault. Alright, yeah, I don't care about that. I am removing Svalin. Brennan 6 dies this turn, but it's done a lot of work. And we're unloading into Omnath here. 2 cards left in their hand. I can pitch cast Subtlety this turn, but I can't imagine it would necessitate that play. Piling in a 3-drop pre-combat. Decks don't really play Reacher anymore. Okay, Kira's a good one. I need Supreme Verdict for that. Kira's actually super fucked up against Binding. Much worse than Ward 1. It's just Ward. Period. Right now I'm going to have to actually outmuscle this board with Omnath because the Kira is a huge problem. It's Supreme Verdict or outmuscle with Omnath are the lines I have. Green, white, red, blue. Omnath, go get him. Last card, Dismember. That would be kind of brutal. It is. Wow, good for you. Alright. Dismember is their last card. Omnath draws. It's Counterspell. And I'm going to fetch my basic planes here and take out the Aether Vial on 2. 2 is the scarier number than 3. They can't go backwards, but they can go up. So taking out the one on 2 restricts the most options. But I am behind here. If nobody else draws a relevant spell for the rest of the game, I lose. I do have a 3/3 though, which is just bigger than Kira, and it can fly. At 7 life. Oh, this is kind of scary. And I don't have double blue, so I have to shock in going to 5. Even if I kill Kira. Or I'm at 1. God, okay. I'm gonna shock in Steam Vents. I have one more white than I have red. Steam Vents get in there. And pass the turn. This is scary. 4 life off of a single Omnath trigger before it died would have made me feel really good about this game. Right now I'm really worried. Medallion Hexcatcher in combat would get me here. Shocking in the Steam Vents just tells a very easy story for them to figure out though. So if they're thinking about Solitude and not about Subtlety, clearing Kira here would be pretty great. No target for this. Oh no. Otawara. Okay. I mean, that's not bad. I go to 1, but I'm not dead. Another look at Supreme Verdict. But I'm also at 1, which means that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I don't have enough mana. I would have to cast Supreme Verdict off the Teferi, and then the Mutavaults would kill me. Alright, yeah, GG. 1. Yeah, my mana was just like a little awkward that whole game. I played around Tideshaper on turn 1, and it had cascading impacts over the entire game. I enjoyed that, even though I lost it. Now I gotta get one on the play. And Dress Down is huge against Kira. I have both of those in already. Let's do it. My hand has removal and 1 removal spell and a bunch of 4-drops. This is not really where I want to be. I'm going to mulligan this. I actually don't think it's good enough. Oh no. We're going to go to 5. Alright, I like this better than the 7 or the 6. Send Sacred Foundry, and it's actually Counterspell. They're a Chalice, or a Cavern of Souls deck. Is not stoked to try to resolve Counterspell against them in an effective way this early on. There's Vial. They're either Vial and Cavern of Souls together are like a Horseman of Death versus Counterspell. And if they cast Tideshaper this turn, I can dress it down and then untap and Teferi or EI as necessary. It is Tideshaper. I'm going to fetch Shock Steam Vents here and dress you down. That way, when it comes into play, it does not get to put a Tide counter on anything. It's still a 1 mana 2/2, which is pretty good rate on a magic card. I'm going to fetch basic planes here and go for Teferi. I'm going to bounce the Aether Vial, because if I bounce the Tideshaper, they just vial it back in. But resetting Aether Vial is a big deal. Ooh, your very own Subtlety. Pretty good. Alright, cool. They pitched a second Subtlety to do that. I'm glad that happened now rather than against my future Omnath. Do I want this on the top or the bottom? I think this card is good enough to redraw. I'll put it on the top. File goes up to 2. Ottawa from hand. They've been pretty tricky with Ottawa the last couple games. Shaper in for 2. And Vial in a Lord. They're probably hoping I don't have a land drop here to pay for Hexcatcher, but I do. So, land first, then Teferi. And bounce Valen. Wow. Okay. I mean, being all in on Valen is really good. Of all the cards you could be all in on, that is a solid one. Now we're going to have to win this game somehow. Against an opponent who's drawing 2 cards a turn and on a 3-turn clock. Yeah, they just went full Legacy Delver on me. Creature, free counterspell, free counterspell. Good stuff. Oh no, and they drew a Lord. So I'm on a 1-turn clock? Or do I still get 2? 9. Or I take 7. Yeah, I'm dead right now. And Supreme Verdict doesn't even get me out of this because Valen's indestructible. I am in trouble, team. I'm going to fetch Zagoth Triome in the end step. Does that even cast Supreme Verdict if I draw it? Yes, it does. Okay. Alright, deck. Stomping Ground. Red and blue. Leaving up all my white to Expressive Iteration. Solitude, Ren at 6, Ren at 6. We're just dead here. GG, opponent. Yeah, that hyper-aggressive strategy getting up under me, realizing they can't win any sort of normal game, that was really good. Fortunately, our trophy blocked by Merfolk. This is 2 days in a row, losing round 5 for the trophy round while recovering from illness. Nobody could just give me this in my time of need and convalescence. It's cool, though. Even with Subtlety, which improved my matchup a lot, we were still behind against Merfolk. They knew exactly what their role was. They saved that Dismember for the Omnath in game 2, which did end up winning them the game. And they just had Subtlety and Force of Negation in game 3. Well played. The last thing I want to do before signing off here is compare this to a list that I found on the internet. This is just a posted 4-color control list that did well recently with Omnath in it. This deck has 24 lands, which we also have 24. They have the Seiju, Island, Forest, Plains. I am kind of on Gorilla Tilt that this person made 2 of their basics snow, but their island is just an island. I hope that's a reporting error and they didn't actually register that. But this does look like they have the same number of single mana lands, and then they have 4, 5, 6, 7, 11 fetches. You got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, this is a pretty stock 4-color mana base. Maybe we just saw the basics a little more often than we want to. Maybe the basics are fine, but we just drew Teferi when we wanted Ren, or drew Ren when we wanted Teferi, and it just didn't line up. I did feel like we had trouble casting our spells in the early turn, which, on the one hand, no duh, idiot, you're playing 4 colors, but on the other hand, the modern mana base has been incredibly toxic to the color pie for quite some time, especially since the Triomes are printed, and we got the other half of the Triome set in Streets of New Capenna. You can pretty much do whatever you want. There's no wasteland in this format. You just got to worry about Blood Moon. So having those hands where you can't cast your Ren in 6, or you can't EI, or you can't Counterspell, I don't know, maybe we just ran bad in this league, but keep an eye on that if you're out there working on this list. I would like to get this down to 60 cards. That does hurt our ratio a little bit. This list does not have 61 cards. It has 60 and 15 like it's supposed to. That is responsible for your 1.5% to draw any given card, or whatever it is, 1.6. There's some small percentage to playing 61 versus 60. The percentage is small, but if you're looking for a specific card or a specific type of card, it is non-zero. If I were playing in an open metagame, I probably would not be main decking Hallowed Moonlight. I don't mind Dress Down. Or if in your own metagame, you could pick Hallowed Moonlight or Dress Down. I don't think you need 2 of this effect in the main. Or maybe the third Endurance is rough. Endurance was, other than that game that it won against Breach, it was kind of medium in the league. and not having a abundance of green cards to pitch to it quickly when you need to kind of hurts. That's where I'd look to make the cut down to 60. Otherwise, all these cards performed. When our mana was under us, we did stuff. Omnath just clutching victory from the jaws of defeat, as he does, or slamming victory from the jaws of victory if we're ahead and just find one anyway. Jace was pretty solid. I do worry about him in a format where 2 of the top 3 decks play Lightning Bolt, but you can plus him if you're worried about it, or just the card advantage is so good it doesn't matter. I love Big Teferi in Modern right now. I enjoy his inclusion. And those are really all the notes I have for that. Mr. Skittles, thank you for asking me to play 4-color Omnath. I hope watching this league get piloted and my notes about the list are helpful. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon and all the stuff that supports the channel, and I'll see you next time.